not exactly hidden. Look, I really don't care much about the exterior of the building. That maniac killed several of my employees, and I want to know what's up with him. What's he saying? What's he doing? What insane justification could he have for his actions? Who is Shriketalon and what's going on? Lois Amarga demands the pencil pusher in the police station. She needs to move quick to cover things up. If Shriketalon starts talking, then he can cause a lot of damage. She needs to put a lid on this. He's not talking to anyone at all. The worthless rabbi's secretary answers. Sure, the man is easy on the eyes, but there's no call for overworked and underpaid-looking burnouts in her industry. Perhaps, unless you're about to offer me an invitation to witness things so I may defend myself from whatever insane slander that man is no doubt actually spewing, I don't want to hear it. Lois snaps. You think he's slandering you? I know he's slandering me. People will use any justification for their debased and destructive behavior even if they have to make it up themselves. Lois snaps. Very well. Would you like to come down to the station and formally press charges, or do you want to wait until he gives his statements? I'll be down shortly. Don't you dare start anything without my lawyer and myself present. Ma'am, you don't need... I can get Judge Height on the line. Would you like that? She demands. And the rabbi's outright flinches. Ah, perfect. She has a flawless in. She just needs to get Felicia down there, and between the two of them they'll have Shriketalon buried under the prison. That'll teach the fool for going rogue. That is completely unnecessary, ma'am. I assure you that I don't care. Expect me in half an hour. She snarls and hangs up. Son of a bitch, I think we're getting a twofer. Officer Roger Reed notes after he's hung up on. He then pounds the fist that Slithern held out for him and chuckles. He then presses a button on his desk. This is Chief Brewy. Hey, Chief, we're getting a twofer. Amarga is trying to cover her tracks and bringing down Judge Height to drop the hammer. ETA half an hour. Some days the goddess just gives it to you in the best way possible. Chief Brewy notes smugly. Good job. I'll have the welcome wagon ready for them. Copy that, so it's go time. We'll start off with the initial arrests. Then we start the sweep. Remember you're part of the operation. Take control of electronic security and stop anyone from deleting or editing the files. I know. The vast majority of the department are already in the system and just waiting to crash their controls, Roger says. Perfect. I'll let our friends know about this little update. Really? Thank you for informing me, Chief. Our friends in the ships have been nice and quiet, although we've had to send a few texts to people in order to remind them that this is a serious situation. Pukey remarks on his communicator. Really? How has that been going? Chief Brewy asks. We're listening to them through their communicators. We've already sent your cybercrime division a copy of the virus we used to do this. Long story short, you're going to have to inform people about how to close this security hole up. Still, a software security update is going to be the least of all the big changes that are about to roll out. Very true. Are any of them wavering? All of them are a little nervous. Admiral Saberhagen has their respect in one way or another, but we've given them little reminders as to why it's smart to just stand down, Pukey says. I give you better than even odds you can grab Saberhagen without incident, but the sooner the better. One of the admirals may change her mind between now and whenever. A fair point. Are your teams ready? We're running Jacob through a basic call sign course and giving him some new gear so he can work with us. He's too valuable not to use. He knows the area, knows the guards, and him fighting against them will ding the opposing morale hard. Remember, if this is going to be legal, we need a minimum of dead bodies. Corpses get funerals, criminals get sentences. We need to parade these fuckers around and make sure people see that this kind of behavior leads to a concrete cube at best and the erasure of self if I have my way. It shouldn't be too hard to get that. Considering that they've been using the state's execution method on children, that's going to get the crowds howling for blood, Pukey notes. Give them something to howl for Mr. Undaunted. I want them in chains, not caskets, Chief Brewy says, and Pukey smiles. You'll get it, I assure you, Pukey says. We have a plan of attack. Just as we hit, we kill their communications, and the first move we make is Vernon showing up and taking control of their Axiom defenses. Then we hit each tower one after the other as Vernon pins them as hard as possible, and we sweep the whole area. My teams will focus on security to knock them down while your girls follow to make the arrests possible. Then, as that happens and they're still wondering what the hell is going on, we hit all 10 of their storage facilities and continue with the arrest sweep while also sending the children to safety. They're going to need babysitters. And don't say the forest. It may be able to keep them safe, but it needs a sorcerer to talk to you, or talk through. That's where Majakemka comes in. She's not a sorcerer, but she can vaguely hear the woods, and it cares enough for her to listen. She's going to be the face of their rescue, and she will calm them. One woman? No. But she's going to be leading the effort. She's organizing everyone that isn't on our roving kill teams. Good. We have 10 teams with 1 chainbreaker, 10 undaunted sorcerers, and at least 2 old-school sorcerers. Jacob Schreiktalon will be teleported from team to team as roving morale killer and insider information. With that much force to bring to bear, we should roll over everything in our path and have more than enough power to just knock out and not need to just kill everything in our way, Pukey explains. After we've gotten the lion's share of this organization already wrapped up, we hit the containment facilities and sweep up the rest. Each time we'll hit another holding facility. All told, this should take 1 hour at most to hit the first target and then another hour in order to hit the second. You've planned this to the core, haven't you? Yes. Every team has a plan on sweeping each tower as efficiently as possible and then hit the facilities afterwards. Between the sorcerers with Vernon and the Bright Forest and your own cyber warfare, our enemies will be blind, deaf, confused, and unaware that we're there until the very moment the hammer comes down. Good. Very good. The arresting teams are already heading out, and it appears that my current guests are arriving early. Excuse me, I need to get the first couple of arrests out of the way. Have fun. Her valet opens the door in front of them, and Lois nods slightly at the loyal woman's work. This annoyance needs to be either swept under the rug or possibly... Well, if she could get the chief on her side, then this could turn from a possible disaster into a great advantage. After all, the chief is no doubt a reasonable woman. She's seen just how hard it is to work without one's indulgences, and it's not like anyone important is getting hurt. She outright smiles as she sees that the Metak woman is already waiting for them, standing on top of a desk and smiling from her temporarily taller than average position. Smaller women like her had to find some way to compensate for nature, cruelly taking away whatever imposing nature they actually had. The station itself is a bustle of action as several officers are returning from duty. A few are having a conversation about something, and more than one are wandering around with case files in their hands, getting some cardio in while they work. A bit more bustling than expected, but what else can you expect from someplace run by a race as disorganized and chaotic as a Metak? Ah, Miss Amarga, Judge Felicia Height, Chief Brewy asks. She then snaps her head to a nearby officer. Don't stand there slack-jawed, you idiot. Roll out the welcome wagon. Oh no, that won't be necessary, Chief. I'm just here to make sure that... Lois begins before a loud clunking sound is heard, and she turns to find that the station just lowered its blast shielding. What is the meaning of this? Miss Lois Amaraga, a.k.a. Miss Yellow, you are under arrest. Judge Felicia Height, a.k.a. Miss Pink, you are under arrest. As of this moment, your private assets are frozen and being seized for evidence. We have you both under multiple millions of accounts of kidnapping, child trafficking, child prostitution, child rape, child abuse, and an outright absurdly long list of other crimes. Officers, Take them away and introduce them to their publicly appointed attorneys. We still have 5 more cretins to... Chief Brewy announces, and her communicator goes off. She taps it. Chief Brewy. Ma'am, we're approaching with suspect Green. One of her officers replies, and Chief Brewy does nothing to keep the pride or the smug satisfaction off her face. This is an outrage. I demand access to a communicator. Lois barks out even as a desert Nagasha in full war paint grabs her by the arms and places restraints on her while simultaneously going through her pockets to remove her personal effects and place them in a bag. I'm afraid Miss Red is being arrested as well. Chief Brewy replies and fights down a cackle at the stunned expression on Amaraga's face. Soon-to-be former Judge Height is simply at a loss for words and clearly can already see her career dying. Even if she wiggles out from under the charges, this is too black a mark to recover from. Yes, we know about Councilwoman Drevik. You bitch! Do you have any idea about the repercussions of this? Lois screams out even as Judge Height collapses and is caught by the gooey arms of Officer Membrane. If you're going to threaten this world with starvation, do remember that with your assets frozen, you can't actually tell your company to do anything, and your board of directors will know better than to refuse to import food for us unless they want their shareholders to flay them alive after they completely destroy the company's reputation, and therefore its stock value. Chief Brewy responds with a satisfied grin. Now then, I believe you are about to be dragged away to a nice, quiet little cell to cool your heels in. Officers Asp and Membrane. Take them away. Separate cells. I want my lawyer, Lois screams as she's being dragged away. You will receive the services of a public defender after we've finished raiding the Supple Satisfaction and all its assets, and we have finished arresting the financiers and owners of that hellhole and put its numerous customers into cells of their own. I want my lawyers, Lois tries as she's forced out the door. Your assets are evidence in an ongoing criminal investigation. They are frozen, and that includes the retainer for your attorneys. Chief Brewy calls back with far too much glee in her tone. When the door slams behind the arresting officers, she lets out a delighted cackle. Oh, he. I love my job. Admiral Saberhagen grinned as her claw finally got proper purchase in the guts of the axiom-disrupting shackles. Stupid barely more than civilian cops show the hell up in her office and drag her into a car? Where were the guards? Why hadn't anyone answered her summons? What was going on? A bit more fiddling with her claw and the shackles separate, but don't open. Still, she has full range of motion again. That's enough. She quickly pulls out her backup emergency communicator and holds down the red emergency button. This is Admiral Saberhagen. Lock in on my coordinates and facilitate a rescue immediately. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. We're sorry. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. Please hang up and try your call again. A young-sounding voice with a slight hiss to it says, "What?" she asks reflexively. She's answered by a long series of hisses that sounds like someone's trying to argue with an exceptionally pissed-off Nagasha. What? Es tut uns leid, aber die von Ihnen gewählte Nummer ist nicht mehr in Betrieb. Bitte legen Sie auf und versuchen Sie es erneut. The voice says this time, and she pauses. She finally notices that her struggles and call have not gone unnoticed, but neither officer is making any move to stop her. In fact, they're smiling. What's going on? Isn't it obvious? I've got control of your communications. I've basically told you that 3 times now, or at least I think I did. The last one was something I memorized rather than understood. The young voice says again, "Who are you? What do you want?" "Me? I'm a chain breaker, and I want you in prison, Miss Green. You can however call me Terror Incarnate, for that is what I am to someone like you." The voice continues before descending in pitch as the man on the other end is no doubt snarling at the receiver. Then the line goes dead. She tries to personally contact her captains. But one after another, it's the young man over and over again, and he only has denial and mockery for her.